thank everybody who had prepared something and delivered it here. And I also believe that the wide range of methods in which things were delivered, from kind of free interventions all the way on the other extreme to very well prepared, long prepared talks, fits exactly the type of event here. Yeah, so that's what we were hoping to get everything in an unforeseen combination, in unforeseen combinations, because there are too many things these days where you can read already the full program before, and you have listened to these people many times, and you know exactly what they are going to say, and you go there and listen anyway because out of politeness. And in this case it was a little different. First of all, people said things that were unexpected at many times that we did not hear them say before. Some people unexpectedly said exactly what they were expected to say, and so it was exactly was a very nice mix. It was really great. Now it turns out that one thing, of course, could not be solved during this meeting. And this is the following. I started in the very beginning by saying what the main task really is. Namely, on the one hand, Europe has this problem of multilinguality. Not just 23 official, but also altogether more than 50 languages, more than 50 languages. And it has the dedication to save all of them, and to guarantee the free flow of information among them, and to make sure that the multilingualism does not turn into a competitive disadvantage for Europe, but into an advantage. That was pointed out. And at the same time do the same thing for every one of these languages. Guarantee to the language community that this communally encouraged and protected, supported maintenance, preservation of the own language in the digital age does also not turn into a disadvantage. That means for all these languages, for Maltese, for Sorbian, not just Serbian, there should be language checkers, there should be natural language interfaces to everything, to robots, to technology. It should exist for all of these languages. So now it's pretty clear that filling this big grid of all the languages and all the technologies needed, plus the cross-lingual technologies, is not some vision that is easily sold to the representatives of the taxpayers. Everybody would say, yeah, that needs to be done, but nobody would say, okay, how much does it cost, and pull out some money. So it is very, very important to have driving visions, that of application scenarios that can be shown to the public, and that can be shown to the politicians, to the policy makers in the individual language communities, and that say, yeah, that's a nice vision, let's do. And maybe if we do this, if we finance this, then on the side, as a side effect, we get this grid filled, that we need to fill urgently. But just filling the grid that looks too much like an Excel sheet of a bookkeeping, of an accountant, they would, and if you put price tags into all these squares, and say, oh, this for Maltese costs this and this, that would be terrible. That you cannot sell at any place. Now, what came out here was really interesting, because you need to get industry involved, you need to get the researchers behind you, and then you need to get the public. So many of the talks concentrated very much on resources and new research strands. That is very good, because if you don't have the researchers behind you, and if the researchers don't think that they can make scientific progress, then they won't follow. So some of the visions have to be research driven for the insight of the researchers. Otherwise, if you get enough funding, you always find enough colleagues, but maybe you miss out on some of the best, and so it would be nice to really have the researchers there with their heart. So it would be nice to have a vision such as natural language understanding, such as the grammar manufacturing monastery, such as robots helping you to learn the interaction, that the facts, the knowledge that you need for translation, and many of the other things that were put forward. Yeah, so the cultural dimension, the cultural adding to all the speech translation, all these higher levels of cultural dimension. So those are all things that drive the researchers. Yeah? So now Wolfgang and also in your talk, Professor Zhong showed a couple of Chen Jing showed a couple of examples with little videos that are very impressive. So yeah, so if you go with these videos and show videos of future applications, then maybe these visions could really drive the thing. And it's true that maybe very topics such as such as social developments, as football, as health, they are all very attractive and very important issues. Those are things everybody worries about, and if you put the right things together. So then, but really putting together such a vision, of course, now we only had some little building blocks maybe, but not yet pulled it together, because then what was maybe the mobile phone that you run around? Yeah, who knows whether in 10 years you would hold this thing in your hand and speak here like this, or whether maybe we have a little piece of jewelry in our ear, that is our earplug, and a little piece of jewelry here, that is our microphone, and maybe a ring over the finger that enables us to point at things, and then if we point at the thing will say the right things, or maybe some flashy script will appear on the surface of the building we are looking at. And so, I mean, this is all now however we flesh it out, to bring it up to 10 years, this is a task we still have to do. We still have to sit down and think about, or how to do the same thing in the workplace, maybe by embedding information access, because it's always these three topics. It's always in language technology these three topics. On the one hand, it's natural interaction. How do we interact? The second thing is knowledge use and information use and maintenance and management, and the third one is crossing the language boundaries. That's always the same three things that need to be combined in one way or the other. And of course it would be silly to have three visions, but in many of your examples it was already combined in nice ways. We cannot come up and have one vision for information access and so on. So we can have maybe several use cases, that we can have, but not completely different visions for these three things. So I think very, very valuable building blocks we got here. Still lots to do to piece it together, to bring it together with developments in other fields. For instance, with the linked open data initiative, or with something I may call syndicated services. The idea to have quite a number of services, not just for language technology. That's like a language grid, that you can address a parser here, morphological analyzer, some translation here, that you have them interoperable. But we were talking more about how to enrich language processing by knowledge, right? And that means you also may have an address resolution program for Spanish addresses, and maybe a Spanish medical dictionary facility that knows also about folk expressions in folk medicine. And it's completely impossible to do these things in a centralized way. So there is one level, I think, where even the big giant Google will have to concede, or who knows. But it's right now unlikely that all these services, namely all these specialized services, airplane terminology, morphological analyzer, hyphenation program for language, geographic name resolution, text entailment for temporal expressions, that all these 1,000 things will be done by one source. I think it's much, much more likely that they will come in individual pieces. And my feeling is really, although to us in the field, the language resource idea, yeah, has been very much driving, because there are large parts of language technology right now that can only make progress by more and more of these resources. Yeah? But somehow I have the feeling that these resources will be, and it's a little bit, it was already in Nicoletta's, I think she did not say that explicitly, but if you extrapolate from what she said, she talked about these collective large-scale resources, but actually resources in this way will not be the kind of corpora and lexicons we are talking about, but it will be services. Yeah? It will be really services. It will be services, and not just language services. I think the language services may be just a small subpart of it. Yeah? It could be that the language services are just a tiny part of many, many knowledge-based information services. Yeah? And some of these are, have to do with language, and maybe we are even more the consumers of these other services, also providers, of course, but not maybe we are not the center of the universe in language technology. Yeah? So I think in trying to wrap up, and then I would like to open the floor, because I don't want to make the final statement here, in trying to, and somebody should do, yeah, and you should heavily disagree with what I said, but one thing I wish you disagree, because then we could argue, is I think lots of work still has to be done. So we have to sit together now. This is input for these vision groups. What we got out here, this is all videotaped now, and we will try to condense it. This will be input for these 3 vision groups. It will be input for further, it will be input for a public discussion on the web, so everybody can contribute and send in their own ideas, and then probably many of the things, I would be very sad if many of the valuable things here, if not many of them, would appear in the final, in this final research agenda. I would be very disappointed, but I would also be very disappointed if not other things came and would be added. Yeah, so I'm sure we are in the middle of a very valuable process, and we need to continue this, because the discussion is going on. We have this mandate now in this network, MetaNet, to do it. Yeah, we have no choice, otherwise we will get very bad reviews and lose our money. So we will have the thing. We have to do it. We have to deliver the strategic research agenda. We have to deliver first papers by November. The first paper by November, yeah. So, and then it's going on in the next year, and one way or the other, one vision or several visions, 10 visions, 1 vision, 3 visions, we have to do it, yeah. And then if these are selected, we have to develop from these visions an agenda, a research agenda, to say what are the instruments of doing it, and then we have to go with these ideas and hope that they will find open ears on the side of the policymakers, and that in the end very good research will be funded. And so these 3 levels, namely the research interests, yeah, then all the tools and mechanisms, resources, services, and so, and the third one, the application scenario that's really attractive enough to gather enough attention. They all will have to be there.